Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Lagos, Ogun, Rivers, and Ondo are to experience constant flooding.
Nigeria's 2025 flood outlook warns 1,249 high-risk communities across 30 states and the FCT.
To transform Nigeria's livestock industry, we need a synergy among all stakeholders.
First Livestock Summit sparks blueprints for protein-powered Nigeria.
Our support to the Nigerian financial services industry, amounting to $19 billion in the past decade, has helped to deepen and expand the sector.
Nigeria builds a trade brain to fuel wealth, jobs, and global clout. Now, 2 consecutive nights of rain have drenched Abuja, signaling the onset of the rainy season and painting the city in glistening hues as dark, heavy clouds cling to the skies. We are feeling the cool gusts, which gradually replace the humid weather and the dry season dust that residents of the FCT have had to contend with for the last few months. As we gear up for Abuja's wet season, of course, we also do know that the rains would come with a fair share of disruptions, just as it is expected to bring relief to those who have experienced the heat waves for some time now. We will be talking some more about weather in the course of the newscast. A very good evening to you and welcome to the Network News. I am Olajide Bello. And tonight, we will be joining Uche Ogechukwu for a status report on meningitis in Nigeria. And for sport, Francisca Abile will be our guide. Now, remember, you can watch these newscasts live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on our social media handles displayed on your screen. Now, let's quickly begin by drawing attention to meningitis, a life-threatening infection of the brain and spinal cord that continues to hit Nigeria hard, with seasonal surges claiming lives. Yet, experts say prevention starts with education. The question is, could gaps in public knowledge be fueling the crisis? How much does the public truly know about meningitis? Well, our latest survey is putting the spotlight on Nigerians' understanding of this deadly disease, asking how knowledgeable are you on the causes, symptoms, and preventive measures against meningitis. Later tonight, we'll dive into the survey, early findings, and unpack what they mean for Nigeria's fight against meningitis. Do stay with us as we bring you the data on why awareness could be the difference between life and death. And now let's bring in our health correspondent, Uche Ogechukwu, who has been monitoring the alarming trend of meningitis in Nigeria. Uche, what exactly is the situation and what accounts for some of the death we have experienced this year alone?
Thank you, Jide. Already in Nigeria, reports have shown that we have 151 deaths, 74 in 2024 alone. Of course, we have them in 23 out of the 36 states affected already in Nigeria, and the northern states are predominantly affected. And in the course of the presentation, of course, we'll get to know all you need to know about this outbreak and the causes, and of course the causes, and of course the preventive measures, the action plan already in place. So now I'm talking about, we know research has already shown that meningitis is a bacterial infection, and seasons like known as the meningitis belt, which is between May and October, are always the majorly hit periods in Nigeria. We also have low vaccination rates and delayed healthcare access as some of the causes of this disease in the country. And we have symptoms like high fever, stiff neck, severe headache, primarily as the major symptoms. And we also have things like vomiting, sensitivity to light, and confusion as the secondary symptoms. And of course, we have the spread, just as I told you earlier. We have the northern states like Jigawa, Katsina, Sokoto are the hardest hit because, of course, we know they are majorly hot areas, hot parts of the country. And talking about the 36 states affected, the remote areas are having the highest burden of this, thereby straining the already strained health systems they have. And data has already shown us that high fatality rates are linked to late medical care. 24 hours window, it's very important in the decision between life and death as long as meningitis is concerned. So access to quick medical care matters a lot. We also have the U.S. aid. That is talking about challenges. We have the U.S. aid cuts, of course, affecting the preventive and control measures we already have. But the country, Nigeria, has its own measures already in place. There are actions already. We have 1 million plus doses of vaccine deployed via the Gavi Alliance. We have public campaigns for all these symptoms recognition and care-seeking behavior. That's to make the people imbibe the habit of seeking for health care early enough. And some of the long-term solutions advocated are mass vaccination drives and improved surveillance. We also have advocacy to address healthcare access gaps in remote areas. We know that these are the underserved population and they are mostly hit. We also have funding gaps and infrastructure improvement. These are advocacies that once they are improved, of course, Nigeria will get better. The effects of prevention and control will be seen more when all these action plans are in place. Thank you, Jide.
All right, many thanks, our health correspondent there, Uche Gochuku, giving us facts about symptoms and preventive measures being taken to curb the deadly scourge of meningitis in Nigeria. But I hope you're not having a stiff neck.
No, not at all.
All right, many thanks. Still on health, the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pati, says President Bola Tinubu's administration is driving bold reforms to strengthen Nigeria's health system, including expanding access to affordable healthcare through strategic partnerships. Speaking at the official unveiling of the Diaspora Hub app and Diaspora Health Insurance Scheme organized by the Africa Diaspora Cooperation in Abuja, Professor Pate describes the initiative as vital complements to government efforts in achieving universal health coverage. He emphasizes that the Diaspora Health Insurance Plan will play a crucial role in mobilizing resources from abroad to support families back home, easing the financial burden of healthcare access and improving overall health outcomes. Professor Pate calls on the diaspora to continue investing their expertise, networks and capital to build local capacity, including pharmaceutical plants and diagnostic infrastructure.
This is important. It's fixing a key pillar of the health transformation that Nigeria needed, at least in terms of affordability, in terms of risk pooling, prepayment mechanisms, and our ability to buy quality healthcare.
In African healthcare financing, where we look for innovative ways to finance healthcare access for many Nigerians. And I must say that we are here today is a testament to the commitment and the tenacity of the group to actually address this particular need.
In the meantime, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu is sustaining engagement with traditional rulers across the country on the need for them to put their weight behind critical interventions in the health sector. At a meeting with the Traditional Rulers Council in Taraba State on the sidelines of her two-day working visit to Jalingo, the First Lady renewed her appeal for partnership and highlighted the need for the leaders to sensitize their people on free treatment of HIV, AIDS, hepatitis, syphilis and tuberculosis.
People are not talking, and unfortunately, the rate of mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS is very high. And that's why the minister too is here, so that we can bring awareness to it. And we need the traditional rulers, especially because we know that you are the custodian of the land. The people they directly relate to you, and we need you to help us to send the message down that we are creating awareness so that people don't die of cervical cancer. They said the rate of mortality is very high. Well, because we are looking at 2030 to make sure that at least we can eliminate a lot of all these things, at least bring it to the barest minimum, if not zero. And I believe that the minister is looking at zero level so that all Nigerians will be healthy.
Appreciating the First Lady for the visit, the Chairman, Taraba State Traditional Rulers Council, Manu Ishaku Adali, notes that her interventions in the health sector are critical to the well-being of the people. Nigerians have been asked to embrace modern livestock techniques for sufficient food and nutritional value in line with best global practices. This is coming at the first Northern Nigeria Livestock Development Summit held in Abuja with the theme, Sustaining and Improving Livestock Development in the Region. Yusuf Jika reports.
The first ever Northern Nigeria Livestock Summit is gradually taking the center stage with expertise of key players unlocking the huge investment opportunities in technology-driven farming. Discussions were also upscale in areas of improved value chain in the industry with proposals of meeting targets of utilizing huge potential in the sector.
For that broadening us together and bringing us together, for the North in general to come up with a strong policy, a strong communication on how this ministry will move forward and benefit us.
It's how to improve this practice to modern livestock practice.
The Minister of Livestock Development and other critical partners call on stakeholders to harness the several value chain inherent in the sector with priorities to dairy products, consumption and market value.
To transform Nigeria's livestock industry, we need a synergy among all stakeholders, such as government at all levels, private investors, traditional rulers, farmers, and development partners alike.
It offers timely and strategic platform for dialogue, innovation, and collaboration as we seek to reform and strengthen our livestock sector.
Participants at the event are optimistic that conversations in the summit will advance the livestock development and contribute to economic growth and development of the region and the nation. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
And now to weather and climate change effects. The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency predicts that nearly all parts of the country will experience flooding this year due to the anticipated amount of rainfall this year. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET forecasted that the rainy season would begin early this year. Now let's join Musa Baba Aliu for more details.
While many people appreciate and admire the rainy season, there is always an underlying fear of the floods that often accompany the weather. This concern is the motivation behind the flood outlook presentation by the Nigerian Hydrological Services. The predictions are divided into three categories. The first category includes areas at high risk of flooding, with 1,249 communities identified across 176 local governments and the Federal Capital Territory. The second category consists of areas expected to experience flash floods which may result from poor maintenance or inadequate drainage systems. The following cities may be particularly affected: Abakaliki, Abeokuta, Abuja, Asaba, Benin City, Birnin Kebbi, Calabar, Ibadan, Kaduna, Kano, Lagos, Makurdi, Nguru, Onitsha, Osogbo, Port Harcourt, Sokoto, Warri, and Yola.
Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Lagos, Ogun, Rivers, and Ondo are to experience constant flooding due to the rising in sea level and tidal surge to impact on fishing, wildlife habitation, and river navigation.
Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, Director General and Chief Executive Officer of NISA, noted that this year's flood forecast extends beyond mapping local government areas to identify specific at-risk communities.
The agency has been able to come up with interventions and novel programs for reducing impact of flood disaster on the most vulnerable communities.
The outlook includes 3 documents addressing flood forecasts, which provide detailed scenarios of potential flooding events, flood risk communication, which offers tools to translate forecasts into timely action, and flood mitigation and adaptation, which outline key measures to reduce vulnerability to flooding. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, for more on the 2025 annual flood outlook, we are joined by the Director General and Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, Umar Ibrahim Mohammed. Welcome to Network News.
Thank you very much, Jide. Thank you for having me.
Okay, while your enhanced methodology in translating flood data to real-time decisions is commendable, I am intrigued with how your agency's community-focused flood forecasting addresses historical challenges in effectively disseminating early warnings and ensuring actionable responses within some of the identified high-risk areas, particularly given that local infrastructure and literacy levels vary from location to location.
Thank you very much. Well, actually, the annual flood outlook has been on since 2013 after the 2012 devastating flood that occurred. Now, the agency, through the Ministry of Water Resources, came up having putting up a lot of data on how the water respond to the climate change as well as man-made activities. It was able to come up with its first annual flood outlook. And since then, this year, 2025, today we presented the 13th edition of the annual flood outlook. Well, actually, what we tried to do is to move a step further ahead of what we've been trying to do by trying to now focus more on the communities that are likely to be affected instead of just stopping at the state and local government level. Now, by doing so, we'll be able to identify the at-risk communities, whereby we'll be able to map out the houses, their livelihoods, their farmlands, livestock, yards, as well as markets, institutions, healthcare facilities. All those will be mapped out, and we'll be able to tell whether these facilities could fall under the at-risk areas or not. So by doing so, we'll be able to concentrate a lot of resources. Instead of looking at the whole local government or state, we'll be able to concentrate our resources and energy on a particular point where this flooding might likely occur. And at the same time, saving a lot of resources.
All right, in detailing sectoral impacts on health, agriculture and infrastructure, how will successes in mitigating cross-sectoral disruption be measured?
We have the non-infrastructural, at the same time infrastructural, mitigative, and that is why this year's annual flood outlook was segmented into 3. First, the flood forecast itself, which is the normal document that has been coming up each year. Then the second one is the flood risk communication, whereby we have identified a huge gap in terms of cascading mitigative measures and understanding how the locals put up their own mitigative measures in terms of flooding activities. So we try to come up with a means of identifying their own local methodology together with the scientific and technological methodology, put them together and come up with a robust mitigative method. So that is why we came up with the flood risk communication, to close up the gaps in terms of communication and understanding how to together map out how to reduce the impact of flooding to its barest minimum. And the third document, which is the flood mitigation and adaptation, also are the methods being applied by the local communities on how to control and manage. Flooding is something that is beyond human. It's a phenomenon that you can't stop because it happens across the world. So now we try to just come up with our own local adaptation and resilience. So that is what the very essence of segmenting this year's annual flood outlook into 3 documents.
All right, Director General and Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, thank you so much for coming on the Network News.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much, Jide.
Moving on, you're watching the Network News. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. A suit filed by the Port Harcourt-based legal practitioner to use the instrumentality of the Federal High Court Abuja to annul the appointment of Vice Admiral Ibokite Bass as Rivers State sole administrator has been stalled. Olabode Arewa reports on these and other proceedings from the court.
The legal practitioner, Gideofor Obi, filed a suit against the Attorney General of the Federation and those of the 36 states, arguing that President Bola Tinubu's suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu from their positions was illegal under the 1999 Constitution, and the plaintiff wants the court to reverse the suspension. The presiding judge, Justice James Omotosho, observed that most of the respondents are yet to file responses. This prompted an adjournment of the matter to June 11, 2025. Siminalayi Fubara was suspended in March when President Tinubu made proclamation of a 6-month emergency rule. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, wants investors, particularly France companies, to take advantage of the historical economic reforms under President Tinubu's administration to promote sustainable business activities between Nigeria and France. The minister led the federal government delegation at the Nigeria Business Forum organized by Business France in Paris. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
It is another convergence of investors from Nigeria and France with an agenda to boost Nigeria's renewed status as a global brand and destination for would-be investors. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says within 2 years, the set targets encapsulated in the 8-point agenda of the federal government are taking shape.
Nigeria's adoption of fiscal discipline and revenue reform has seen an increase of about 20% in government revenues and a decline in debt servicing as a percentage of revenue. Our tax reforms are geared at raising the tax to GDP ratio to 18% over the next 18 months without increasing the burden on existing taxpayers. Through all of these interventions, we are deploying government seed funding to lay the groundwork for leveraging trillions of naira in private sector commitments towards infrastructure, access to consumer credit, healthcare, real estate, and many more. Now, Nigeria called for increased investment partnership, and indeed this is part of the reason why we are gathered here this morning. We are, of course, keen to see French companies seize the moment to look towards Nigeria and for Nigerian companies to look towards France with greater enthusiasm to invest on both sides.
There was a consensus that now is the best time to invest in Nigeria.
We look forward to walking this road of reform to transform the relationship that exists between us and also to consolidate the economic footing of Nigeria, with France, of course, as a close partner.
French economic presence in Nigeria is already robust and praised. Nigeria accounts for more than 60% of French direct investments in West Africa.
Governors of Lagos, Kwara, Ogun, Kaduna, Ondo, Oyo, and Ebonyi State represented the subnational government.
It makes a lot of economic sense for us to be on the ground, to see things for ourselves, and to be able to convince the investors from both sides, and be able to take them, back to our country.
That it must be an investor that is very much ready to develop, to invest, and to partner with the government.
We have established a very strong partnership with the French government. That is why I am here today to also take the advantage of this very important forum.
The event also showcased the commitment of the Minister of Information and National Orientation to uphold the relationship with Thomson Group, a French company, in his reform agenda of the media ecosystem in Nigeria.
It is the first strategic meeting among stakeholders between Nigeria and France after the visit of President Bola Tinubu in November last year. And this is aimed to speedily actualize the desired developmental targets of the Renewed Hope Agenda. In Paris, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And back home, Nigeria and China are set to commence the implementation of the blueprint on the comprehensive strategic partnership reached between President Bola Tinubu and President Xi Jinping in September 2024. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that a delegation of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference visited the Nigerian Senate to further lay the groundwork for the implementation.
The more than half a century of mutual relations between Nigeria and China was last year upgraded when President Tinubu, after a state visit on the invitation of President Xi, agreed to the comprehensive strategic partnership. The visit by the vice chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference is to facilitate the implementation of the agreements covering various sectors. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, expresses Nigeria's willingness to continue engagements for mutual benefits.
We have found in China a partner that does not lecture, a partner that listens, a partner that does not impose his will on the people, but a partner that invests and does not retreat even as there is sign of difficulty, a partner that marches forward with us in all facets of infrastructural development.
Nigeria is a major country in Africa. It has extensive influence. China always attaches its great importance to its relations with Nigeria.
In another developments, the Northeast Caucus in the National Assembly has commended President Bola Tinubu for putting in place the $530 million special agro-industrial processing zones to make the industrialization of Nigeria's agricultural sector a reality. It, however, urges the inclusion of the Northeast Zone in the project.
The Northwest and the Southwest have two processing zones each. South-South, Southeast, and North Central have one processing zone each. Despite its enormous agricultural potential and of course livestock, the Northeast Zone is conspicuously missing from the list of states allocated to processing zones.
The caucus also appealed that people of the zone should be considered in more federal appointments. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
On par, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has sanctioned 8 distribution companies for failing to comply with monthly energy caps for unmetered customers between July and September 2024. Those affected are Abuja, Eko, Enugu, Ikeja, Jos, Kaduna, Kano and Yola distribution companies. They are to pay more than 628 million naira as fine and must issue credit adjustments to affected customers by May 15, 2025. NRC says it remains committed to regulatory compliance and consumer protection in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. And following delivery of 10 mega transformers and mobile stations, the federal government has commenced another phase of Siemens project with the signing of $328.8 million contract for rehabilitation and construction of transmission lines across the country. Joshua Ojito reports.
Under the phase 1 of the Presidential Power Initiative, 544 kilometers of transmission lines will be rehabilitated with new lines to be constructed. It is expected to increase transmission load capacity with more than 7,000 megawatts. Federal government and the Chinese company that will execute the project commit to its timely completion.
By focusing on upgrading and expanding our transmission network, we are directly addressing a key bottleneck in the power sector value chain.
Under the PPI, the Siemens Energy is going to be basically upgrading and implementing new substations across Nigeria. Siemens is not in the business of doing lines. So what makes this critical is that for all the incremental capacity that's being implemented or being achieved, we want to now make sure that we are able to evacuate.
Under the project, which is also known as the Siemens deal, 10 mega transformers and mobile substations were earlier delivered and installed in parts of the country. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Now, the era of shortage in trade and market information, as well as limitations in trade facilitation services in Africa, will soon be a thing of the past. This is as efforts towards improving intra-African trade are being intensified through the establishment of African trade centers across Africa and the Caribbean. Benny Adams reports that at the inauguration of the center in Abuja, the federal government promised to utilize every opportunity to grow Nigeria's economy.
The cutting of the ribbon signifies the opening of more opportunities for trade facilitation, market access and financial services from Africa to the world.
To achieve these goals, we must unlock new trade corridors and reduce dependency on imports, empower SMEs.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented alongside his economic team, believes that amid global economic tariffs, it is time for Africa to look inwards with focus on intra-African trade as a quick step to the desired prosperity of the continent.
We are about 15% in Africa, at most, 15% intra-African trade. Asia, about 60%, between 40 and 60%, and Europe even higher. That is where we need to get to. Over the last decade alone, total disbursement into Nigeria amounted to about $50 billion, spreading across vital sectors of energy, infrastructure, manufacturing, healthcare, transport, and financial services.
So together with Afreximbank, we're already co-creating the future through real-time trade intelligence systems, support for food security, and capacity building across value chains, from textiles to technology.
The African Export-Import Bank has committed $3 billion to finance the trade of refined oil products within the continent and reduce Africa's dependency on fuel imports, in addition to providing additional financing to the continent's creative sector and the MSMEs, among others. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The Bayelsa State Government and beneficiaries have commended the NNPC Foundation for organizing a medical outreach for free cataract extraction surgeries in the state. Wife of the state governor, Gloria Diri, who flagged off the program, expressed hope that the initiative would help to reduce the caseload of cataracts, which remains a serious public health concern in Nigeria. Aya Prezi reports.
You are worthy to be praised.
That explains the joy and the sense of relief
felt by beneficiaries of the NAPC Foundation 1000 Free Cataract Extraction Program, which has relieved them of the huge financial requirement to carry out the surgeries on their own.
I was to do the operation under insurance before this free program.
Because of financial problem, I've kept this thing for about 3 years.
But God sent NMPC to come and help us out.
And I'm very happy that one has been done. I give glory to God and I direct the management of NNPC.
Some of these beneficiaries, if not for this intervention, would have just sat there and allowed nights to befall them even before their time.
I'll use this opportunity to call on other partners alike to rise up to the challenge to tackle other life-threatening diseases.
Mr. Jude Ayalogu, who represented the managing director of the NFPC Foundation, says the 1000 Free Cataract Extraction Program is taking place across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, even as the World Health Organization coordinator in Bayelsa State and others in their goodwill messages expressed delight over the initiative and prayed for its success.
For target beneficiaries, we believe in building a society where no one is left behind, and this program is a testament to that commitment.
Aya, Brazil, NTA News.
Similarly, in its commitments to improving public health and well-being, especially for deserving communities, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited Foundation, in partnership with Abia State Government, launched a similar initiative providing free cataract surgeries to 1,000 Abia indigents suffering from cataract and other related eye conditions. Jude Obiora reports.
Cataracts are a leading cause of blindness, particularly among the elderly, and the free surgeries will offer a much-needed solution for those who cannot afford the cost of medical procedures. Abia State Commissioner for Health, Enoch Obuna, urged the beneficiaries to spread the news to others to ensure that Abia State is rid of cataracts, adding that NMPC Free Health Program is in line with the state government's health policy. Managing Director, NMPC Foundation, Emanuela Arukwe, stated that the aim of organizing the free cataract surgery program is to ensure that people regain their sight and contribute to the economic development of the society.
About 43% of blindness in Nigeria is cataract, and it's something that is preventable. Once you remove the cataract, people begin to see and begin to be able to give their quota to child development. So that's why it's there, because once you have cataract, it becomes a burden.
Some of the beneficiaries thanked the NMPC Foundation and the state government for their kind gestures.
This cataract has lasted up to 4 years, and I have no money to do the operation.
More than 1,000 patients drawn from 17 local government areas of Abia State benefited from the free cataract surgery screening, which began on the 31st of March 2025. In Umuahia, Jude Obiora, NTA News.
Time now for another break. There will be more news when we return. Please stay with us. Many thanks for being there. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Africa's foremost industrialist and philanthropist, Aliko Dangote, founder and president of the Dangote Group, on his birthday. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, President Tinubu celebrates the life of a visionary whose resilience and unwavering commitment to Africa's economic transformation have redefined entrepreneurship on the continent. The President commended Aliko Dangote for his contributions to Nigeria's industrialization effort, noting how his ventures from cement manufacturing to agriculture and the groundbreaking Dangote refinery have bolstered the national ambition for self-sufficiency and created thousands of jobs. Beyond commerce, the President extols Dangote's philanthropy mainly through the Dangote Foundation, which has uplifted millions of underprivileged Africans. President Tinubu praised that God Almighty will continue to bless Africa's richest man with vitality, wisdom, and many more years of impact. He encourages younger Nigerians to draw inspiration from Dangote's enterprise, resilience, and service. And the Nigerian Senate has pledged to provide every necessary support to enhance the operations of Federal Road Safety Corps to achieve its goals on road safety management in the country. Vice Chairman, Senate Committee in Federal Character Commission and Government Affairs, Senator Dicket Plank, reiterated these at the commissioning of some facilities at the national headquarters of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
The key targets of the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Sheikh Mohammed, on assumption of office, is digital transformation of the Corps, especially in aiding its operations.
In Allah's name I pray.
Seemingly, that target is turning into reality with the transformation of the renovated reception, making it more digitized and interaction-friendly. The Information and Communication Hall, as well as the Data Collation Center, amongst others, have also been transformed to enhance better service delivery.
The first lead we made here is to create enabling environment and conducive environment for staff to be motivated, to be more productive.
We would continue to support this type of this agency or this commission to succeed in whatever means, whether by legislation and whether by way of appropriation.
The FRC was charged not to relent in ensuring safety and sanity on the roads, which remains paramount to everyone. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Another break beckons. The news continues in a moment. Don't go away. Glad to know you're still there. Now let's join Francisca for a sport update. Francisca.
Thank you, Olajide. With less than 2 months to the National Sport Festival in Ogun State, tagged Gateway Games, the various subcommittees of the main organizing committee have been inaugurated by the Director General of the National Sports Commission, Bukola Olokpade. At a ceremony in Abuja, Olokpade, who doubles as the chairman main organizing committee of the Games, charged the newly inaugurated 19 subcommittees to work with local organizing committee to deliver the best national festival in the history of Nigerian sports.
I want to appeal that we carefully and meticulously work around this, because after all the work done, if there are agitation on medal collation, then we all would have failed. And I know we are not failures. We are going to get it right. I want to appeal that we all work closely with that committee to ensure that we have medals read out real time.
Away from Nigeria, Bodo Glimt secured the promising 2-0 victory over Lazio in their Europa League quarter-final first leg, courtesy of 2 goals from Ulrich Saltenis. Despite several missed opportunities, the team is hopeful for the upcoming second leg at Stadio Olimpico in Rome, following a one-sided match held in icy weather. Meanwhile, the match between Rangers and Athletic Bilbao has ended. Bilbao is still playing goalless draw, while Lyon and Manchester City have 2-1. Tottenham Hotspur played 1-0 with Frankfurt. But that's the size of our package. It's back to Olajide.
Many thanks, Francisca. And the death has occurred of Alhaja Wele Hawau Badamasi. She died on Saturday, 5th of April 2025 at the age of 94. Mother of Oba Mufta Muhammad Badamasi Ajagungbade I. The Olafa of Alhaja Wele Badamasi was an exemplary matriarch whose life was marked by unwavering faith, selflessness and dedication to her family and the Ofa community. 8th-day Fidar prayer comes up on Sunday, 13th April 2025 at the Odofus Palace of about 10 a.m. The family prays Almighty Allah to accept her return, forgive her sins, and grant her soul Al-Jannat Firdaus. And just before we close shop tonight, let's bring you the findings from our latest survey probing Nigeria's understanding of meningitis, a deadly yet preventable disease that continues to plague us here in Nigeria. We asked, how knowledgeable are you on the causes, symptoms and preventive measures against meningitis? And our findings appear to have uncovered striking disparities in public awareness. 54.5% of respondents grasp at the basics, saying they are moderately knowledgeable but lack detailed understanding. We do have a ray of hope, with 27.6% of respondents saying they are highly knowledgeable and can confidently identify causes, symptoms and preventive measures against the deadly disease. However, a concerning 17.9% remain entirely uninformed, saying they have no knowledge at all and are unfamiliar with the disease or how to combat it. And that's it on the news tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.